I just want to go ahead and get this established. Just how far left I am. Heard a certain crack rabbit. Yeah, a certain crack rabbit, a certain wonderful artist, a nice fennec fox who I accidentally stole viewers from. Who else? A pack of wolves. An entire pack of wolves. And whoever else wants to join. I didn't think you had the game anymore. I don't know if that's referring to you, Misu, but I didn't think you had the game anymore. Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to with a cool guy. I thought that was you. Okay. So to get started on this... Who else would be cool? I think a lot of people here are cool, actually. I think just about everyone is cool if you're here right now. Especially coming in on such short notice. I had 7 viewers for a while. I'm not cool. Don't lie to yourself. Okay. I think I'm gonna... Everyone is cool in one way or another. That's true. What do you need help with? Is it Paimon? Is Paimon invading you? Are you a Genshin fan? Jor? Is that you, Core? Are you Jor? Because a lot of people pronounce my name Core. It is you! Oh, it's a nickname! Oh! Got caught off guard. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get started. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interest of transnational corporations. Who other than, like, an absolute bitch-ass motherfucker would say disagree or strongly disagree? I do not understand this. I genuinely do not understand why people would rather help benefit faceless companies than, like, actual people. Like, I don't think that's very hot take. I don't think we're there yet. If it is a hot take for you, I'm sorry you feel that way, I guess. Me? Oh my god. Okay. I always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. No! I consider myself a patriot for the US, but not for the same reasons that a lot of people do. I am a patriot because I like seeing how much crazy stuff we've managed to change over time in such a short history. Like, we have a really dense history, and a lot of it has been done through, like, changing things for the better. And I think we should be focusing to continue changing things for the better. Faceless companies have feelings too. They kind of objectively don't. I don't know what you mean. No one chooses their country at birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. And I'm not going to say strongly disagree, but I do disagree. I think people have every right to be proud of where they live. And it doesn't just have to do with country of birth. If you're immigrating somewhere, then you arguably have even more right to be, like, proud of the place you live in. Although I guess if this is asking if you're proud of your country at birth, even if you immigrated, then, I mean, there's that. But I still think it's not exactly foolish to be proud of where you are. Our race has many superior qualities. I forgot this was here. I haven't taken this quiz in like 2 years. So I'm gonna get caught off guard by some of these. I remember there was one about like monarchy or whatever, but this one's literally just like racism. I don't think I'm racist. I'm a whopping 1/16th Native American. Go ahead and answer it. Okay. The facts don't care about their feelings. Oh yeah, the faceless companies. That's true, they only care about facts. And that means there's no room for feelings. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I am very much a pragmatist. So I'm gonna have to say agree here, but I don't strongly agree. Because you have to remember that different people can have different methodologies. And I'm not exactly very revolutionary. I may be very left-wing, but I'm not a revolutionary left-winger. I'm not quite that far. Military action that defies international law, which is almost always in place because it would defy human rights. Like, of course I don't think we should be defying human rights with the militaries of the world. There is a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Why would that be worrying? I think infotainment's awesome. My cat is hitting the doorknob in my room. Oh god, I have no idea which one I am. I just know my grandmother's a historian, and she looked really far back into our family lineage. And one of the things she found was that, like, her I think it was just her no, it was just her grandfather. Her grandfather married some Native American in Virginia. I don't know what tribe it would have been. A worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Although, I think some degree of escapism might still be necessary. Generally, I am not a huge fan of, like, 100% escapism, but it can be nice from time to time. So I'm gonna say just regular disagree. People are ultimately divided by class more than nationality. Strongly agree. Even being divided by nationality means you're still largely divided by class, because you have to worry about first stage countries versus second or third stage countries, and then up to fourth. What is it? Yeah. Developing countries. You gotta be careful not to say third world, because that just implies that they were allied with the US during the Cold War. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling entertainment. I wish there were a neutral option here, because I actually don't have much of an opinion on this one. Because when you have inflation, like, you're going to make, obviously it's more of a long-term thing than unemployment. But at the same time, I feel like when people are employed, especially with the help of unions, then inflation can be mitigated by just raising wages, I guess. So I'm going to say agree, but I don't... Or disagree, I mean. But I'm not going to say strongly disagree. Because I do think there are consequences to inflation. Do I even need to comment on this one? Right. Does everybody understand why I think strongly agree here? Okay, I'm very big into environmentalism. That's one of, like, my favorite positions that I have, that I'm most passionate about. Well, I guess that It's probably my second most because I also care a lot about, get this, it's going to be a fancy word, democratization of the workplace. Do you know? I'm not going to say the word. The word. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think people should be able to vote for their bosses. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. I notice a lot of people just look up this quote, see it comes from Karl Marx, and they just go all reactionary and immediately say strongly disagree. But I think if you actually think about this and you still disagree with it, that just kind of means you're not a very good human being. Like, this is literally just sharing is caring. If you can provide, you should provide to those who need it. It's just a question of, are you nice or not? The freer the market, the freer the people. Actually, I think restricting the market to a certain point can make people much freer. That's why unions work so well, and that's why they improve a lot of people's happiness. And also, antitrust suits really lead to innovation, which increases competition, stifles monopolies, and in turn that also makes people free. Yes. I hate... What's the company called? Well, first of all, Nestle. Like, literally one of the most evil companies in the world. Privatizing water in entire countries. I can't believe you, Nestle. You make Crunch. You can't just be privatizing water in African countries. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. This is one of the things that, like, I'm actually not too left-wing on. I think... I don't know. I'm going to say disagree, because I do think people should have the right to own things, at least to a certain extent, including land. That is included in that extent. Man, chat is dead. I guess you guys don't have much to say. It is regrettable that so many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Well, that's because most of the richest people in the world make just about all of their money from stocks. Like, most of it's not even from their companies, because they have to reinvest so much when their companies get that big. A lot of their personal income comes from stocks. And that means that once money gets in their hands, it just kind of stays in the same spot forever. Which is really annoying. So, yeah. Maybe at first they're contributing, but I think once they get to the point where they make their money through stocks, which is where a lot of personal fortunes come from. That's why I'm not saying anything. Yeah, I may be young, but I am very informed. In fact, I got really lucky, and the first job I have, I'm not going to say what it is on stream, but I do work part-time outside of just streaming. I was fortunate enough to join a place that already had a union established. So I'm officially part of a union, and I've studied up. I had already studied up on what a lot of that meant, but now I have the actual experience being in it. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I mean, when it comes to globalization, I think long-term, we shouldn't be worried about protectionism. In a divided world where we do have nations and where we do have countries, I think currently protectionism is a bit necessary. but I'm going to go with my ideals here and say disagree. But not strongly disagree, because I know this isn't very feasible for today's economy. Maybe for, like, the US. But for a lot of, like, much poorer countries, they kind of have to be careful with what they're trading, because oftentimes they don't have any other options. Even if it does make things worse for other people on the receiving end. I don't know, I just kinda wish everyone could help each other, you know? I think that would be pretty cool. Okay. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. You know, I used to say agree to this. I strongly disagree with this now. Like, I agreed with this back, like, the first time I took this test. I want to say that was 4 years ago. I have since moved quite far left. And remember, at the very beginning, I had said, I think globalization should serve humanity rather than corporations. I think this is the same here. Oh, what? I have a Discord ping. Oh, it's just a content announcement. Oh, that's not a content announcement. Oh, it's someone trying to play Scriblio. Okay, back to my release tab. There we go. So yeah, I think overall we should be trying to serve each other rather than ourselves, and focusing on delivering profits to people in order to boost your own reputation and your own stocks and stuff. That's not exactly serving the greater community. The rich are too highly taxed. No, when you make your income in stocks and you hold your money in stocks, you don't get taxed. You hardly have to pay anything at that point. And honestly, like, I genuinely believe that even if you don't have all your money in stocks, you still, like, should be contributing in general. If you have money to spare, like, I think the 400,000 a year point, at least for individuals, is a pretty good cutoff point for when you should start getting taxed for, like, 85% of that. Maybe that's a bit too much, because you have to be careful with this. I wasn't thinking about it before someone brought it up to me, but if you tax the rich too much, they start to leave or hold their money offshore, and that's where you get shit like where the Pandora Papers came from. We don't want that, because the whole point of this is to try and feed it back into the economy. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Well, this is down to, like, multi-payer versus single-payer versus privatized Medicare. I'm in favor of I'm somewhere in between multi-payer and single-payer. I think ideally I would like multi-payer, which is where, like, you have a public option distributed by the government, but then you also have the option for private companies with health insurance to give you, like, better service. But also, I feel like, one, that kind of goes against the whole human rights arguments, and two, that would fail. But, like, if we did that, that would fail. The private options would just be so much better than the public option that it would drop. And it would be pointless. And it'd just be a waste of tax money because no one would be using the public option. I mean, that's not true. It's not that no one would be using it. It's just that, like, it would be kind of pointless because we just end up basically having a privatized healthcare system anyway, at least partially, which we kind of already have now with the ACA. Ugh. Yeah, ACA. I couldn't remember if it was ACA or AHA. I'm referring to the Affordable Care Act. God, my viewer count is dropping. I'm preaching too much. It's getting boring. So, now that I've talked myself through that, I'm going to say strongly disagree. Single payer is superior. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Agree. I would much rather our information come from places that people vote for and choose themselves, rather than people who are basically appointed and are self-serving. Because when you're voted, you have to serve the public or else you're not voted anymore. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. I think I've already gone over that. I agree. Should always be illegal. I think the precedent that was set is pretty lame. I'm not gonna say strongly disagree just because I feel kind of bad about it morally. From a factual standpoint though, banning abortion would have serious consequences. Because it would seriously sacrifice autonomy, and the precedent it could set means the government could come up and say, hey, this very important military person is getting their arm amputated. Give them your arm. And you would have no choice. That's a fairly extreme case, but with a precedent like this, then it gives them far more control over your body, which... No, I would rather not give my arm to a soldier. I'm sorry, but I like my arm. I play rhythm games with it. All authority should be questioned. Yes! My dad runs a church and even he teaches me this. He says that questioning is the most important thing that you can do if you want to learn. And if you want to be able to think for yourself, you have to question it. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. God, no. That was such a dumb system. At face value, it seems fine. But you can play DDR without arms. Kind of, but also the rail on the back. Grabbing that with just one arm is probably not the best. Oh my god, my cat is hitting the doorknob so loudly that I saw my mic picked it up. I know there are a few railless players, but it's so much harder to be railless than it is to be actually using it. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Art is really important. And the Smithsonian is really fun. I used to live in DC. I would go there all the time. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I'm going to regular disagree with that. Because I do think there are situations where it's important that students should be able to have off. That said, I think it's generally a net good to keep it a requirement, because on a philosophical level, an educated society is generally better than a non-educated society, and on an economic level, that means that everybody makes more money and everybody ends up being happier. Because they say money can't buy happiness, but when you have money and you're able to live comfortably, your happiness is gonna go up than if you're living on the streets, or if you don't have hot water or something, or if you don't have running water at all. Okay, all people should have their rights, but it's better that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. I'm not racist. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. No. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I agree. I think earlier I was talking about bodily autonomy and privacy and stuff. I think the privacy stuff can apply to here as well. It's like some Ninth Amendment stuff, I guess. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. If marijuana is a criminal offense, tobacco should be a criminal offense because it's even worse for you. And the only reason it's not is because of lobbying. And because we don't associate marijuana with, like, Mexican people. I don't think we do that anymore. I think it's shifted to, just poor people in general. So it's looked down upon by a lot of people. Unfortunate. That also boils back to the people being divided more by class than nationality. Yeah, I'm consistent. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. No, I think I'm not going to say strongly disagree because that is an important part of it. But I think that I more so like education on the philosophical point because it helps everyone question and it helps everyone come together to make society better. Because when you question, you think harder about stuff. You go into critical thinking mode. And that just makes you able to soak in more. And you can, actually help make changes to make things better. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. No, I do not like eugenics. There is too much weird stuff you can justify with eugenics. I have to go to bed because I'm getting a headache. Talk to you tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Good night, Wolfpack. The most important thing for your children to learn is to accept discipline. Who would think that's the most important thing? That is not the most important thing. I mean, it can be an important thing to learn. Not, well, yeah. Because you have to let people, learn to, accept that not everything is going to be pleasant. But I think the most important thing for children to learn, I'm very, very into, the whole question everything type thing. My funny story, I don't know how relevant this is, but I got, most of my worldview from playing Xenoblade Chronicles on my 3DS when I was younger. So I think learning self-discipline is more important. Yeah, learning self-discipline is more important than learning general discipline. I still think learning to question is the most important thing. Like, being able to stand up for yourself. Because I don't think enough people learn that. Like, you are your own best advocate. You don't have to listen to what people say if you don't think it's smart. Do a Xenoblade playthrough so I can see what you're talking about? Oh, I will. I will eventually. You don't have to worry about that. Although I'm not sure if I'll do Xenoblade 1 or Xenoblade 2 first. Or X. I might do X. I love X. But yeah, my very core viewpoint is that people have the power to change their futures for the better. Very clearly coming from Xenoblade. So that's why I think everyone should learn to stand up for themselves and question authority so that they can learn to help make their futures brighter. There are no savage or civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Yeah. Yeah. I could try to make a reasonable argument against this. I can think of one. I don't like it because it doesn't give people a chance. And I think we should give people a chance in general. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly disagree because there's very likely a reason that they're refusing the opportunity. Like, the odds of it just being because they're lazy is not high at all. And I think generally we should worry more about the people who actually have reasons to. Like, a lot of people on the autism spectrum, for example, like, they're at a point where they can work, but work is very difficult. So there are some people who would rather not deal with that and find something else to do, which I understand. Hey, that's me. No, I think you're more than capable of work. I know you well enough. You're not at that level. There's someone in particular I'm thinking of. I don't want to name them. I know them in real life, so you guys won't. You guys shouldn't meet them. Another thing is, like, if you, like, technically you're able to work if you're poor and you have, like, 5 kids. You are technically able to work. Should you work? Or should you help those, like, 5 kids? And should society help you with those 5 kids if you're not choosing to work instead of looking after them? Like, I would say yes. I think we should, like I said earlier, I think we should be helping each other out when the possibility is there. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, to keep busy with more cheerful things. Like I said earlier, I don't think escapism is a generally good thing. It can be nice from time to time, so I don't strongly disagree with that. But I think, generally speaking, we should try to confront these things and get them out of the way, rather than procrastinate them. I don't hold up to that all the time, but I do my best. First-generation immigrants can never fully integrate within their country. I don't think that's the case. I really don't. Most, like in the US, for example, most immigrants that are earning citizenship know more about the US than people who were born here and don't have to take the citizenship test. Oftentimes they can integrate too well. Like, I'm not gonna use that example. I'll bring it up though because I don't want to feel like I'm teasing you guys. I was going to say, like, Hispanic people coming in, I feel like they're so heavily discriminated against that they end up going full circle and end up becoming super right-wing themselves. Because the Hispanic population did largely turn red. Which is ironic because a lot of conservatives do not like them. What's good for the most successful corporations ultimately is good for all of us. No! The most successful corporations are the ones that turn into monopolies, and those are the worst for us. And turning on my microwave killed Jur. Oh no, what happened? She stopped dead. Oh no. Did my model freeze for a second? Because it seems like it's moving again on my preview. No, it's... What happened then? Oh. Oh. Okay, I was worried it was something on my end. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I don't know. Oh, really? I tried to lower my resolution and frame rate specifically for cases like that. I wish that Twitch would let me, add multiple resolutions to it. Because I saw that was the case on Noomfly's stream. But I have no idea how to do it. Neither do they. And as far as I had thought I knew, you needed to be a partner for it. Yeah, because Wi-Fi waves are technically another form of microwaves. Oh, happy 11/11 to my fellow ESTers. Make a wish. Don't look at the clock again until it's 11:12. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I don't think I agree with that. I think generally, although, yeah, I'm going to leave it at strongly disagree, just because in our current system, this implies that it's democratized. And if I were to say agree or regular disagree, then if I were to go off my democratization of the workplace ideals, they wouldn't necessarily need public funding to be democratized. Obviously. I don't know why I don't have the available bandwidth. I should be fine. Also, Noomfly's internet's not even as good as mine. Mine is just generally faster. And there's nobody home right now but me, so I'm the only one using the Wi-Fi. Okay. 4 out of 6. How do you see wider society? Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Agree. We worry too much about terrorism as a whole. Well, I do worry about them being curbed. You have stuff like the TSA, for example, which is horrible at catching anything. You still have to go through it, though. It's more of an inconvenience than anything, but oftentimes it can lead to false positives, and that's never fun for anybody. Although, I'm not going to say strongly agree, because I do think we should be conscious of attacks like that. I just worry that we may be a bit too conscious overall. And even if our civil liberties aren't being excessively curbed, we have a lot of places in the world where they are. Oh, sorry. It's 11. I still don't know if I have work tomorrow or not. I probably won't, but there's still a possibility. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delays progress in a democratic political system. I strongly disagree, because argumentation like that leads to more questioning and ultimately leads to better decisions overall. Even if that means compromise sometimes, as long as we're ultimately making progress, I'm fine with it. And a one-party state that gives, one specific ideology too much power. I'm very, very progressive, and even I don't think that we should only have progressive viewpoints. obviously I think I prioritize them, but I don't think it's fair. Our electronic age makes official surveillance easier. Only wrongdoers need to be worried. I disagree. I don't strongly disagree. Because I'm more worried about, commercializing the surveillance than, counterterrorism here. Although, surveillance can account for commercialization as well. So, I'm going to say strongly disagree, because I think everyone needs to be worried about commercialization of that stuff. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. No. Sean made a great video about this. Just watch Sean's video. Like, there's so many flaws with the way our death penalty is set up that even if it was moral to do it, it's immoral the way we have it set up. Like, we've had a lot of people on death row for a while, and we had our first execution in, like, 15 years, about a year and a half ago, I think. Regardless, there was a massive gap, despite not having a massive gap of people sentenced to death row. So people are just kind of stuck there, in limbo. And that's horrible. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed, and people below to be commanded. No, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. I'm a bit of an anarchist. I'm not fully anarchist, at least not yet. I hate hierarchy, though. I cannot stand hierarchy. Even if I know it's sometimes necessary for organization. I do not like it at all. It annoys me. Abstract art doesn't represent anything and shouldn't be considered art at all. Fuck that. No. Abstract art is cool. Money laundering with abstract art is not cool. Abstract art in general is really cool. Experimentation, telling stories, not just with what you see in the art, but what was done with the art. I don't know, I think it can be really cool. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Do I need to explain this to you guys? Like, I understand rehabilitation uses a lot of resources. More so than punishments. But punishment just kind of ignores so much. It's just kind of like, get out of my sight, evildoer. And then you just pretend they don't exist. It's really unfair to the person. Abstract art is the coolest. Yeah, I think a mix of abstract and regular art is, like, my ultimate favorite. Like, when it comes to music, I think Frums is a really great example of, like, mixing conventional stuff with abstract stuff. Same with Knoll, a song by Lar that I've been listening to a lot lately. There are parts of it that are fairly traditional, and there are parts of it that are really abstract. The whole thing feels really, really eerie. It has a lot of emotion packed into it. It's a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. I don't know. I want to morally say strongly disagree, but logically, I only normally disagree, because you only have so many resources to spend on each criminal. I think we should try on everyone. If it ends up failing, then I think resources, like, we have to try and get to as many people as we can. So I think I'm just gonna say regular disagree. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. No, I think they're equally important. Society would not really function the way it does without art. Like, art is largely what helps us question and gain critical thinking skills, and that, like I said, is ultimately what leads to progress. If there was no art, nothing would happen. We'd all stagnate. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I disagree. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. What? Is this new? I don't remember this. Is this about GMOs? Is it about, like, taking resources and using too much of them? What is it referring to? Can someone help me out here? What do you guys think it's referring to? I think my answer's gonna be the same regardless. Actually, no, it wouldn't be. I'd fluctuate between agree and strongly agree. Because if it's just about taking resources, then yeah, I definitely agree with that. Taking too much of the resources, yeah, I strongly agree. I think we should focus more on efficiency rather than totals. Making peace with the establishment is an important part of maturity. No, because if you just make nothing but peace with the establishment, you can't make it better. That just means you're accepting it for what it is. And there's a lot wrong with what it is. There's always something you can do to make it better for people. There's no such thing as utopia, right? You got through that, okay. You'll find these propositions on religion agrees. No, astrology, I'm not a fan of astrology. You cannot be moral without being religious. No, you can be moral without being religious. Maybe, there's an argument to be made that morality has its origins in religion, but you can be taught morals without being taught religion. Charity is better than social security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Social security goes towards everyone. I think charity generally goes towards people that potentially need it more. But that's a case-by-case basis, so I'm gonna say regular disagree. Some people are naturally unlucky. Colloquially, I'll say yes, but I don't think so. There's selfish reasons to be moral other than the fear of eternal punishment. Oh yeah, of course. You can want to be a nice person because you're a nice person. I mean, that's how I feel. I'm not really religious. I consider myself agnostic. I have a good relationship with the church. I'm not big on a lot of the cosmogony aspects of religion, though. It's kind of backwards from a lot of people, to be honest. But you're not going to find me being like hardcore atheist, religion bad. I think religion's fine. Just don't hurt people with it. It's important that my child's school instills religious values. No. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. I don't even know where this idea came from. Like, it makes no sense. That's not even what we're evolved to do. Besides, some people just think it's fun, so as long as they practice it safely, I don't care what they do. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Adoption is based. It's like the most base thing you can do. Like one of, if not the most base things you can do as a human being in general is to adopt a child and raise them. Like, I kind of struggle to think of things that are more like directly humane than that. I'm planning on adopting. I'm infertile anyway, so that's my only option. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Sure. I think we need general addiction prevention measures for that, but I don't necessarily think that needs to be written into law. Just like I don't think restricting this industry and making it entirely illegal would work. First of all, that's weird that you care so much about what people are doing sex-wise. Secondly, you end up with a war on drugs situation where it becomes entirely unregulated, and then you end up making it worse. Because everything just gets crazier and crazier, and more illegal, because there's no line. It's just everything is illegal. So then you end up having a lot of, like, unconsenting situations. And that would not be cool at all. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Keyword is consenting, so I agree. No one can feel naturally homosexual. No, that's not how it works. Openness about sex has gone too far these days. No. There was recently this case that people were freaking out about this video where a couple was having sex in public, and, like, I guess if that's, like, on your mind, you can be like, oh yeah, that happened. Society is degenerate. I hate society. We have sex so much all the time. It's gone too far. No, I don't think that. Okay, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. I want to see where I am. But also, I don't want to, like, make myself look bad by calling myself a leftist, and then I'm, like, not. Right, wait, probably. No, I feel like I'm gonna be pretty progressive on this. I feel like I'm also gonna be pretty libertarian, but a lot of that has to do with political compass. Being, really biased towards lib-left. Like, even if you answer as a freaking white nationalist Nazi, you're still barely going to end up in authoritarian right. Okay. I'm gonna do it. Where's mine? Yes! Okay. We got it. We got it. I am what I say I am. I'm no liar. Okay. Time to screenshot. Claim your free political compass certificate. Is this an image I can save, actually? Open image in new tab. Yeah, I'll just download that. Chart. Okay. Well, that was fun. You should always, a word of advice for anyone that wants to take this test, always do it casually. There are far better political tests you can take. You need the certificate proof. Literally about the exact same point. Yeah. I mean, this is a pretty base point to be at. I know because it's where I'm at. See, I could get the certificate. I could get an NFT of this exact political compass at this exact point. And no one, if you want to be able to say you're just as progressive as Jur, you'd have to pay me like $5,000 and destroy the environment. Okay, one Ethereum transaction I've learned is actually not that big of a deal. The problem, the problem is that NFTs get passed around a lot, and it builds very, very, very fast. No, it's estimated. I don't remember what the site was called. It was like worldhealth.org. They estimated that throughout an NFT's lifespan, it uses about as much energy as 500 cars on the road for a year. Try this. It's much more accurate, I think. I will definitely do another political test at some point. I just wanted to do Political Compass because, yeah, one transaction, I think it was like 250 kilowatts by itself, which, yeah, in the short term is pretty bad. What was it last year? Like, I think we hit 8% of all power usage was from Bitcoin mining or crypto mining. TGR, DM me that link on Discord because I have hyperlinks off in chat. I will definitely take that later on. I was definitely just doing this for fun though. Yeah, this isn't necessarily too serious. How much of that did you see? Because I know you're pretty right wing, and I went fairly in depth on a lot of the stuff that I believe in. How my Xenoblade brain works. Yeah, who else here? Who else here is a Xenoblade fan? Because if you're a Xenoblade fan, you're awesome. You're like more awesome than you know. Is it just me? Damn. Soon. Oh my god, my mouse. But yeah, TGR, you should DM me that link. Okay, thank you, I see it. Yeah, I think I've taken a few other ones. I think for, like, a more specific casual test, 8 values is pretty good. But, there are obviously much better ones, because 8 values still doesn't measure all that much. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend, like, taking Political Compass too seriously. It's definitely just for fun thing. And I think it's much more informative to actually listen to people taking it and explain their points rather than just looking at the dot. I feel like I did a fairly good job explaining what I was doing. Or explaining what my thought process was. And honestly, I know I said I wasn't going to save this pod. I might save it just for that. But I'm gonna have to download it from Twitch, because I didn't actually record it. Whoops. That's the opposite of last time. So, a fun fact, the reason that it's taking me so long to get my VOD from yesterday onto YouTube is because I accidentally left the stream recording for like 2 hours after I ended it. So the VOD was like 5 hours long, and 2 hours of that was just the bye-bye screen. Well, I want to crop it anyway. Oh, can you do that straight from Twitch? Because I could probably just use YouTube to crop it. And that sounds like it would save a lot of time. Because booting up Power Director sounds obnoxious. But yeah, TGR, if you're still here, if you were wondering just how progressive I am, I'm sorry. I'm a radical leftist. You can export directly from Twitch. That's cool. That's cool. Alright, so just chatting. Let me go ahead and move this back on my main monitor. Hello. Oh, hi, Faye. You joined right at the very end of the stream. I just finished taking a political compass test. I'm going to upload my result onto Twitter, but I'm also, more importantly, going to try and trim out a VOD of me explaining all my points, because I think that is far more accurate than the dot itself. But it's a pretty long watch. I'm pretty long-winded. Oh, my monitor almost auto-powered off. I saw. Political compass test is something. Yeah, I took it very casually. Like I said, the dot isn't worth that much. It's the points being explained. The dot is more of something I can use to brag about my progressiveness. I'm in a call with my so I'll be lurking. I was actually just about to end the stream. I'm sorry. This was a surprise stream, so I wasn't planning on doing much for it. I'm surprised it's been up this long. I've been streaming for an hour and 40 minutes, and it's like almost midnight, and I'm still not sure if I have work tomorrow. All things must come to an end. Yeah, that's true. Soon North Pole. Oh my god, that's intimidating. Well, yeah, I guess I'm gonna see you guys around. I should have my VOD from yesterday up soon. Tomorrow I'm doing a Mario Kart stream with some people. Small Mite's gonna be there. Lucia Cacti's gonna be there. Whoever else wants to join is gonna be there. Just let me quickly post a link to my server one more time in the chat, because that's where it will be. I need to just keep this in my clipboard at all times, honestly. So yeah, I hope everyone has had fun during this, even though it was very rough in the beginning when I was just trying to fix my mic. I hope it's better now, because I know it wasn't that good yesterday. Well, yeah, thank you guys for showing up here. I had fun. I'm surprised I had quite a bit of viewers, considering I didn't make any announcement. I averaged like 7, I think. Good BG noise. Yeah. Listening to me rant about me being like really lefty. I'm so left that I'm left-handed. That's not a lie. I am left-handed. I'm in the oppressed minority of left-handed people. I gotta stop procrastinating. I'll see you guys later. Like I said, I'll be on tomorrow. It's Mario Kart. It'll be fun. I hope. Should be. So, bye bye.